so take a look at the airplane for a second and remind yourself what's about to happen. Let's get back on board.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I know. Like, it's gonna be like the craziest ride of my life, I think.
The flying community is a huge part of what I do, and it's super rewarding to be able to give back.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I won the Flight Chops experience.
So this is a pretty real moment here. Dave is getting ready to solo the extra 300. I'm really stoked to be able to be a part of helping make this happen for him. He's done a lot for me as Flight Chops, so just returning the favor here.
So how we feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling the exact correct amount of apprehension. Like just like the perfect amount of like right where I should be.
You should write a book on what that amount is, because I bet you a lot of people would like to know that.
All right, Hannah, you've been very patient today.
Yeah, it's been kind of hard watching y'all have fun, but it's my turn. It's been long awaited.
This project connected 3 stories to one airplane.
Like all night I was playing this in my head, so it was hard to sleep last night because I was like running through it.
My story was to train for this routine.
There we go, starting at 4,000.
On top of doing the backseat checkout, I learned the sportsman competitive aerobatic sequence.
It's drinking from the fire hose. Yesterday was a really big day, and from a filmmaking perspective, I'm kind of like juggling 3 different stories here.
During this super stressful time, while most of the world is basically shut down and many of us are in isolation or quarantine, focusing on really big multi-part episode edits has been hard. But I've got that extra 300 stuff, as well as an equally massive project covering float flying and a beaver checkout in Alaska in the post-production pipeline. The culmination of this training was to use the beaver to pick up my family as a surprise when they visited me in Anchorage for the last few days of this pretty intense training trip.
Alright, Lakewood Tower, it's Beaver 314 Hotel Alpha, just taxiing past the hotel, ready to go for a west departure.
Flight Chops 314 Hotel Alpha, Lakewood Tower, information uniforms, current altimeter 3019, wind is 2705, and I heard you get special cargo on board by Evelyn.
Reggie smiling.
Welcome to Alaska, Evelyn, and Jill. Flight Chops 4 Hotel Alpha, west, clear for takeoff.
314 Hotel Alpha.
So I have to admit, it has been a little bit difficult to stay focused on these edits with all the bad news circulating, but looking at my back catalog has kind of helped avoid the endless scrolling of bad news. So I thought it'd be fun to invite you to join me for half an hour of zen while you stay home and review some of the best episode teasers and my favorite scenes from producing over 5 years of Flight Chops. We get to meet a lot of awesome characters while filming. Piper is one we'll never forget. He loved working in close proximity to choppers and jets.
You'll be fine. There we go. Thanks, man. All right.
Unfortunately, he recently lost a battle with cancer. It was our privilege to see him in his prime, doing what he loved, and I'm so glad I had my team there to help capture and share this story.
You gonna go get him? All right. Go get him, bud. Who is it? Go get him, bud.
It was fun to see how the Flight Chops project has evolved over the years. The brand was definitely not meant to be taken seriously, and that was quite apparent looking at the original logo.
Hey everybody, I think I did something very, very stupid. I agreed to go flying.
Hey, look at that, the sun just went down.
Okay. It's like I can look at the l'horizon, like
The horizon. You just don't want to look down.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay, but now that we're up here,
Yeah.
isn't it just whatever? Like it's...
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay.
I pulled out all the stops, like usually all the tricks that I was doing, like talking through what I'm doing, offering to let them fly, all these things usually get people to calm down. None of it worked for you.
God, no.
So it was creating a certain degree of tension that I didn't predict. So it was a good lesson for me. Especially I picked a day that was so calm, I was sure it was gonna blow your mind. It was sunset. I was sure this was gonna break your fear. This one was where I really started to figure out how debriefing and flying learning moments could be combined with storytelling films, which inspired doing a deeper dive into flying with passengers, because aviation has many variables. And that's why it's always made sense to me that there's an X after the W in the weather abbreviation, because obviously weather is fluid. And passengers are definitely a variable, which can be attention dividing at best, and at worst, flat out distracting. Over my years of flying, most of what I've learned about handling passengers has been through experience. Very little training ever addressed this. So I'm going to break it down into passenger character types. So meet my cousin Jen. She's the type of passenger that doesn't tell you how she's feeling. And she was in the back seat on this flight, so I had to actually figure out that she was not doing well.
No, it's gonna face you, and that's gonna face me.
Okay, so let's get seatbelts on. So sit up.
Wait a second.
There's some thermals today.
There can feel a little bit of bumps, but that's normal, okay, guys?
Okay. Okay. Can we go upside down?
I don't think we're going to go upside down today.
I don't want to.
We're not going to. It's okay. Okay.
Dave did pretty well. You guys sounded like you had fun.
Was that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Your first plane ride was with a lady pilot.
Yep, that is cool.
Well, I just wanted to make sure she was comfortable. This is why I didn't want to be PIC the first time I flew with her.
I was surprised you wanted me to take her first flight.
I have all the faith in the world that you carry.
Alright, so let's get into it. I'm going to do my best to not interrupt this as I share the highlights from across 6 years worth of Flight Chops episodes. Sit back and enjoy. A rewarding experience helping our friend fulfill his childhood dream to fly.
Gauge is green, maximum power is set.
Wow.
We're hoping we can rekindle this dream he'd nearly forgotten with a discovery flight, followed by a surprise ride in the Stearman. So was I successful in hooking you today?
I'd say about 80% there.
80?
To me, the experience was as close to real flying as you can get. You're in an open cockpit and it's just like being a bird.
Could you survive with nothing but the kit in your airplane?
It's because a lot of us carry survival kits in our airplanes. So a lot of people have never opened them. And they're not familiar with the contents or how to use them or even what works and what doesn't.
So here we go, into the pack.
We've got a bunch of BC pilots and search and rescue technicians together.
You could so easily die right there, like right there.
Even with all the survival equipment, you can still die.
My last fire died. I didn't want to like let it die and let them like try to come save me again. So I tried to light another fire, and then it went out again. I tried to light another fire, and that went out again too.
Alright, so it is raining, but I have a fire. And a shelter. It's not like the best, but it's not the worst. Damn it. This was a pretty big setback and quite demoralizing, to be honest. That's not good. Well, it seems like I put my fire on the wrong side of my shelter.
I'm gonna think for a minute. I'm gonna see what the wind does for the next like 5 minutes. Alright, I'm going with plan B for the shelter. My shelter over here has just become a smoke collector. So I'm gonna try it here. I'm gonna try to figure it out.
Spending the night out with just a small kit created some sweat, tears, and I can confirm there was blood too.
So that's a good cut right there. I honestly didn't think I was gonna need band-aids on this trip, but I got them.
This was a really awesome 2-part series. Definitely check it out if you missed it.
Are we talking? I think we're talking.
4 and right 50, duck's going down. 4 and right 40, 4 and right 30. Duck is going down. Duck is in the water. Easy 4 and right. Duck is disconnected. Duck's okay.
And I can't imagine there's ever going to come a time when this won't be something I think of as a highlight of my life, let alone Flight Chops. The Coast Guard duck training prepared me for 3 different types of hoist rescues: a basket recovery, a double lift recovery, and a military aviator double pickup.
We came over and we did a free fall deployment of our rescue swimmer, John, down to you.
Deploy rescue swimmer.
What we try to do there is keep the survivor, so in this case Steve, outside the rotor wash. That prevents the rotor wash from possibly drowning him, putting him under the water if he's been out there for an extended period of time where he's hypothermic.
You can see him there swimming over to the survivors. There's the call to the basket. All right, rescue briefing. All right, brief, we're going to do a basket deployment to the survivor and rescue swimmer. Any questions? No, sir. All right, this will be from 35 feet, Dan. Right.
We sent the basket down to you. It's the preferred method for us when we're picking up a survivor is put them in the basket. It's just safer for them.
First check part 2 complete, ready out for deployment of the rescue basket to the survivor and swimmer. Playback hot mic, I have target site.
I got to fly this and take care of it. And after I flew it a while, it just became part of the family. And I'd buzz all my friends with it, and it was great airplane. I said, I can't take the engine off this one. I'm going to keep it. So that was my first start in the T6.
But again, was it a self-checkout?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I didn't know anybody that flew them. We just got in them and flew them, you know. On the way home, we got where we were doing aerobatics. We'd do a loop, and I'd do a roll, and just play with the airplane. Because this is fun, you know.
I had my multi-camera shooting technique figured out just in time to totally capture my tailwheel training right from hour 0.
Guess I had too much speed, eh? Uh-huh. Yeah, I didn't look down once I committed, but there you go, eh? Alright, whatever, we're gonna fix it. Right. The footwork I'm worried about. You know, how am I doing?
It's good, it's instinctive, but the only other thing I was gonna suggest is that you don't have to start the slip early necessarily. Just hold it in the crab, and then you've got a better ability to control the glide path because you know exactly what to expect. Okay. And then when you kind of start to round out as you're starting to arrest the descent rate, then start slipping it, because then you get kind of a double bonus there. One is you're controlling for the crosswind, and the other is that you're creating enough drag that the airplane sits on the ground and stays there because of that drag.
Our final evening in California, and I was invited to speak to the pilot group at Google. I was exhausted, but after the talk, I got an offer I couldn't refuse.
So what do you think? Are we going to do this? What time is it?
Yeah, we can do it if we do it now.
Oh, God. All right.
This is the first airplane I ever considered within reach of ownership.
There it is. I've been carrying that for 15 years.
Kind of have to give you a ride at this point.
If I'm PIC, I generally don't have these guys because what I'm doing is just low key. But I still roll the cameras for debrief purposes, and I make sure that that's clear in my mind, and anyone that asks me, it's like, this is not me making a film. If it becomes a film later, because when I look back at it, I'm like, whoa, that's something I can share, then fine, right? Then I'm a filmmaker after the fact, I'm editing after the fact. I'm not a filmmaker when I'm flying.
So if you actually want to set up a descent there, I'll let you fly the approach in. Sound good?
Just push it down. You're gonna reduce power. Or just let it go.
Constant speed. We'll give her. So let's get the snakes in the basket here. Okay, 75. A little too much, but we'll pull the power out there. 70.
Yeah, prop.
Can't think of a better thing to do in a summer evening.
In all my years of flying, this was one of the most pure flights I've ever had. It's rare to call a flight perfect, but this one was close. We've done some pretty epic productions with flight shops over the past few months, and I'm really proud of them. But between this cold winter and the brain mush from studying IFR, I needed to take a minute and review some of my footage from this summer. This was a pivotal flight where Dennis's words of wisdom from my very first tailwheel lesson started to make sense.
This is a fun airplane. It's honest, it's tough. Pretty soon you're going to find that you're just going to fly this thing intuitively. You're going to set the throttle by ear.
So I just rigged Julie Clark's airplane for the air show. I'm going to see if she'll wear a chesty while she's flying so we can see what she's doing. This episode will take you behind the scenes of Julie Clark's air show. She'll inspire our daughters.
Well, hi, guys. How are you? It's so nice to meet you both. Hi.
And I'll get on board to learn about how she flies her legendary T-34.
Awesome, you're so smooth.
Yeah, but put me in a kitchen, I ain't so smooth.
We're gonna take off, we're gonna climb, and about Auburn, we're gonna lose you.
Okay.
Because we're gonna keep climbing.
Got it.
We're probably gonna go 14,000 or something. And if you level off at 10,000 or boogie, you might beat us there.
Dennis has always sort of historically, I think, had a little secret interest in the sport class. Like, should I say that out loud? Maybe I should keep that to myself. But because he's like a Warburg guy, so like he can't be interested in sport class. But every time he and I have a couple beers, he starts getting wound up about sport class. I was stoked about the opportunity to learn a new airplane. I was stoked about to see how it would handle on the course, and mostly the sport class. I think of all the classes at Reno, they have some fantastic formation procedures. They're very disciplined. They're putting more airplanes up in a single day than any other class that's running at Reno. They absolutely have to have their stuff together, and that like brief fly debrief process they have down in a way that nobody else does. So the opportunity to fly in that class again was something I really wanted to do. But you know, the last time I went on the course, I was literally going 100 miles an hour faster than I'll be going in the SX. So it's a bit of a step back in speed, but it's fantastic to be able to incorporate myself into the Sanders team, to be able to bring someone like you out to try to study the problem of how we share this with people, because I think a lot of people don't understand what Reno is.
I learned something on this flight that's going to change the way I fly going forward, and I definitely wanted to share it.
So this is going to be more of an old school Flight Chops episode, identifying a problem and then debriefing it. Oil pressure seemed a little low, or oil temperature, and I don't remember what it's usually at normally, but it was barely above the red, so I cut it short. On the last one, it went below the red on final, and I pulled the power back.
I'm just doing my final pass to add the voiceovers to this one, and I'm actually pretty stoked. It really is a solid debrief.
Okay, just making sure there's nothing in there that can stick us out.
A critical step before soloing this aircraft is to make sure the back seat is prepared. That involves stowing the passenger's stick, tightening up the seatbelts, and getting rid of any loose objects.
Have a good one.
And if you're not flying solo, this is obviously when you'd want to brief your passenger, because doing so after strapping in is definitely not an option. My reward for completing initial aerobatics and checkout training in the Pitts S2B.
So it's safe to say I'm in for the craziest 4 minutes of my life so far. I'm going to do my best to make that a true statement, yep.
But it felt like more of a punishment as I rode along for real-time competitive sequence practice.
Power comes off. Here we go. That's going to be half a turn. That's one turn. And there's the quarter. Full power. Full speed. 2, 3.
And this legitimately hurt. It was a sudden 6 Gs that I was not ready for.
2, 3.
And of course, that was my first time working with Luke before he upgraded to the Extra 300. So if you missed this stuff in the pits, definitely check it out.
Unlimited race, cleared for takeoff from way 08, wind 080 at 11.
Roger, are clear to go.
Alright, no music for the takeoff, but I want you to watch the rudder work and how carefully and precisely he advances the throttle.
Base plane turn to the north. 160 knots. Race control, that's not the last one's airborne.
Race control copies.
After formation takeoff, the racers tighten up off the course behind a pace plane.
Alright, racers, smoke coming back on the base plane. We'll start our turn to base leg. Now, race control, we're configuring our turn right onto the chute. Look at all the racers. Got the pylon, guide pylon this way.
Unlimited flight, you're cleared out of the course.
Roger, cleared on the course. Alright, racers, the guide pylon this side will be at our left 45. We'll be rolling wings level here in a second. We'll be down chute. Now standing formation, guys, you're looking great. Now, gentlemen, you're looking good. Gentlemen, you got a race.
A couple
couple inches to stay ahead of your interval. It's closing on you.
Roger, I'm at 61 and 3,000. On your outside, Mike.
Forward. Coming, he's about the same interval below you.
Coming down, Mike.
Inside. Looking sweet, nice line.
Thank you, thank you.
Keep it up for a while.
Roger.
Alright, push it up a little bit. He's coming up on your right side. He's low.
Roger, I'm at 61 and 3,000. That's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be in a lot tighter sphincter position if you were here in an airplane, huh?
Oh my God, dude.
But you have to do it properly, you have to do it safely. It's not boldness, it's planning and preparation, and it's being aware and knowing your limits and flying within them.
This is Mother Nature's helipad.
Oh my gosh, look where we're landing.
Mother Nature's helipad indeed. Getting back to the basics in some unique airspace.
Hey, Papa, where do you want to send that to us? Well, sir, we're going to be flying over Apple, and then NASA, Google, and then Facebook would be next, and then back towards St. Carlos.
We're good, so let's go through this engine failure drill. Hey, look at the size of that thing, dude. But see, really, could you land in the middle of that?
Just really got to decide, do you want sunglasses on or off? Because it's not as easy to do that later.
I think being a drummer served me well.
Okay, it's completely yours right now. I'm not touching a thing.
Halfway through this first lesson, I was hovering with all 4 controls.
You have got it completely. You've had it now for 10 seconds. Not even touching them. You are a helicopter pilot.
But it didn't start off that smoothly.
You've got the cyclic. I got it. And that's me? Wow. It's you right now, yeah. Holy shit, dude. And yeah, I've been really undulated. That's okay. That's always the start of it.
Holy crap! Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap.
Okay, 30 inches, give me 45, 46, whatever you got there. Airspeed's alive. 70.
46.
Looking good. Depths and pressures are good. There she goes. You're on its way. Okay, climb power. Power 1.
Dude, I can't believe that worked.
When you join our organization, you're making a commitment, really. The commitment involves spending dollars, but it also involves spending some time out here. And it also involves doing some things that they might not ordinarily do if they were just going to rent an airplane in a flying club. We feel that it's a very worthwhile thing that we do. Resurrect old airplanes and honor veterans. At my age, I'm happy to get up and go flying every day. And as long as I can do that, I'm happy.
This is the coolest endorsement I've got.
Alright, that's the one.
So that was the teaser for the multi-part Chipmunk training series. Refining stick and rudder skills in a beautiful yet quirky old airplane.
Alright, yeah, buddy. Now you got it.
Yeah, I'm getting it. I think
beautiful.
This airplane and I are going to be friends.
And I have to admit, this was a high point. I really hadn't thought I'd ever get to the point of soloing the T6 Harvard. Ever since I was a kid, I've dreamed of the chance to fly a legit World War II aircraft. The way this scene came together really captured my most proud moment as a pilot and a filmmaker.
That's fair. Alright, did I redeem myself with that one?
Yeah, that was good.
To be honest, I'm glad to have totally screwed one up when I wasn't alone.
What is your ground? Good afternoon, Cessna 172, Foxtrot Romeo Oscar Papa.
Oh, that was good. You're flying it well.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of doing it more often, right? Just to get more used to it.
So how did he do, Ron?
Oh, he did a good job.
That's
He's a
awesome.
qualified Harvard pilot.
I'll take it.
Good job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
So, how are you feeling?
Sold Harvard, that's what I feel like.
You don't sound very enthused.
No, it's good, it's good. I'm just in the zone. Alright, so it's fueled, caps are on. And I guess I'm gonna go fly it. Be proud, son.
Rolling on the rear seat cam now.
All clear!
Beautiful night. Sold Harvard.
Yeah. Straight into the sun.
Well, you gone and done it. Now you gotta get this airplane back on the ground by yourself. Alright, Grandpa. Okay. I got pins, fingers, and lights. Gear is down.
My beard is so itchy right now, it's like maximum chops. I've never had it this long before.
And my 6-year-old daughter is gonna fix that. This reward video was meant to be exclusive for Patreon supporters and Movember donors, but some of the donors were anonymous, and I decided to share this with everybody. So let's do it. Evelyn picked out her outfit for this adventure, complete with her most sparkly skirt. I grew the most insane chops I could, so Evelyn had a lot to work with. My hair was also out of control, so we let her have at it. Huge thanks to everyone at Fusion Hair, especially Megan. So I hope you enjoyed that little kind of trip down Flight Chops memory lane as much as I did. I know spring of 2020 is going to be a time that we all remember as a very difficult period, but we are going to get through it. Things are going to get better. I'm going to just keep my head down and keep working on awesome content, and thanks so much to the flying community for being a part of what I do, and I look forward to giving back more to you guys. Huge thanks to all the sponsors that have helped me create what we've done with Flight Chops, and a massive thanks to Patreon supporters that have been there since 2014 when I launched that campaign. So for now, stay safe and healthy, and stay at home, I guess. And until next time, keep your flight chops sharp.
Didn't get a 0?
That's the name of the video.
That's definitely the name of the video.
No zeros. He didn't get.
Well, I got maybe no zeros on move. I guess there were a couple sloppy ones, but
he got through the whole sequence.
Really?
On the first attempt.
Nice.
Well, there was coaching, there's no question, but I was mostly able to keep track of where it was on this thing. All right, I'm
very proud of him, like, honestly.
Appreciate it, man.
You two guys today, just rocking it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been good. I'm ready for lunch. How about you?
Me too.
I was worried it seemed so short, and I'm like, well, he either nailed it or like it was a total disaster.